Tonight on KGW News, as National Guard troops start training on the coast, small protests continue at Portland's ICE facility.
It's not a war zone. There's nothing here that's, scary.
We verify whether what Homeland Security is saying stands up against reality. Plus,
everyone in Portland is kind of standing with each other to make sure that we're all safe.
What Portland Marathon organizers are saying about the race this Sunday that passes right behind the ICE building. And later, call it a change of heart from Mayor Keith Wilson.
And I feel like we've been heard.
With Portland's brand new extended pay to park hours now on hold. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. First at 11, we're tracking new developments as National Guard troops mobilize on the Oregon coast for their Portland deployment. Here is what we know. Some 200 members are now training at Camp Rylea in Warrenton, according to Senator Jeff Merkley. And while the timing of boots on the ground in the Rose City remains unclear, indications are it is not likely to be tomorrow. And that's because on Friday morning, a federal judge will hear Oregon's emergency motion to block the deployment. Meanwhile, the governor says the 60-day operation could cost some $10 million. That's accounting for salaries, supplies, and lodging. This evening, Police Chief Bob Day appeared on CNN to address what is happening on the ground here, particularly outside the South Portland ICE facility, to a national audience. Take a look.
We're working closely with our federal partners, but the facility itself is managed and governed by the Federal Protective Service, and they have responsibility for that. And the incidents you speak of, for example, last night, occurring on their property. But Portland is very much engaged. And once again, this is just one small block in a big city that we're trying to manage for all the Portlanders.
Well, let's bring in Alma McCarty now live at that one small block near the ICE building in South Portland. So Alma, how are things looking this evening?
Yeah, David, I can tell you that within the last literally 2 minutes, there was one person who was taken into ICE custody into that DHS facility, and another person was maced, what appeared to be maced right in the eyes. I'll take a step out of the way. You know, this crowd that is outside of the facility right now, this appears to be comparable to yesterday's size, although there did seem to be an uptick in agitators, people riling up the protesters specifically this evening. We spoke with folks in the area really to get their impression of how this situation is being characterized. Wednesday night outside South Portland's ICE facility.
Take a picture too. They don't last you longer.
A small group of protesters heckle federal agents standing on the roof.
ICE! ICE!
Then an announcement.
This is the Federal Protective Service. The facility is closed and not open to the public.
Minutes later, in formation, the officers exit the open gates and appear to go after one protester. Some residents living and observing close by say activity like this ebbs and flows.
I was down here the other night just standing along the side of the building there, and when they came out and were chasing people, and I was just like, don't start shooting over here.
In a war zone, that seems a bit extreme to me. Because I haven't seen any, there hasn't been much in the way of people actually, fighting.
Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin with the Department of Homeland Security sent a statement to KGW about activity in this spot Tuesday. She wrote in part, over 100 rioters stormed an ICE facility in Portland, something KGW has not been able to independently verify. Our crews on the ground saw at most 40 people.
Definitely wasn't 100 people.
McLaughlin went on to write they assaulted law enforcement, even putting one member of law enforcement into the hospital, trespassed on federal property, attacked law enforcement by blinding them with strobe lights, and blocked the entrance to the facility. While we did see an ambulance enter the facility, we don't know who this was for. Our crews said protesters also used a few flashlights set to strobe mode. Mostly they've used loudspeakers.
Honestly, for the most part, it was pretty peaceful yesterday, and it wasn't as chaotic as they were saying. I didn't see anybody rush the gate at all. And like I said, I think more of the rushing came from the actual agents and stuff when they rolled out in the van and started just tearing down the street towards people and everything.
Another assertion that 6 rioters were arrested, including for charges of assaulting law enforcement. However, we were unable to find those suspects booked into the Multnomah County Jail. DHS tells us they're looking into the details of those arrests. All right, back live. This is the scene out there. You can just see the people standing really in the driveway, but beyond the blue line that is painted on the ground, demarcating where federal property is and where public property is. You saw earlier there was a vehicle that went into the building, or that's what we saw, and that is when the agents started to come back out. We will, of course, continue to follow this situation from what the federal officials are saying down to these protests, and we will have continued coverage starting tomorrow on Sunrise. David, back to you.
Yeah, Alma, I appreciate you breaking it down there, including talking about the peaceful protesters, what the federal agents are doing, and also the fact that there are agitators, people who I take it from what you're saying, meant to cause trouble or trying to cause trouble there on the ground. Really appreciate your reporting there tonight. Stay safe. Meanwhile, Portland police released these pictures of a suspect wanted in connection with an assault they say happened last night outside the ICE facility. Police tell us the victim was live streaming around 8:30 when they were hit in the face with a flagpole. Authorities say a dialogue liaison officer tried to stop the suspect. Again, the woman in these photos is the suspect before she got away, before other officers arrived. Well, today we also sought out the perspective of Portlanders who say they would welcome the National Guard. And while the vast majority we've spoken with are skeptical about the need, some folks say they welcome troops stepping in to potentially address other concerns like trash, crime, and homelessness. Take a listen.
I kind of support it 110% just because I would like to see them clean up the city of Portland.
Well, I want to be very clear. Nobody wants to see troops in the street. But naturally, if city governments and police departments are not able to protect people, folks are going to look for protection from anywhere they can get it. And for those people who do not want federal troops in our streets, I would say start clamoring for your local government to protect our property, our businesses, and our lives.
At this point, the president's authorization does not extend beyond protecting federal property and personnel. Meanwhile, on the immigration front, federal prosecutors are taking legal action against 4 Oregon counties, including Multnomah, Clackamas, Washington, and Marion, demanding information to help track down 10 violent felons they say were released from state custody. Immigration officials say the men, all with serious convictions ranging from rape to manslaughter, are likely subject to removal orders from this country. The Justice Department arguing Oregon failed to honor what are called immigration detainers. You may remember state sanctuary laws limit interaction with federal immigration enforcement. The U.S. Attorney for Oregon says removing violent offenders continues to be a matter of public safety. Okay, with the Portland Marathon scheduled for this Sunday, organizers tell us they have been in touch with police and do not expect any impacts from the National Guard deployment. The route, by the way, passes near the ICE building around mile 10 and relies on Portland police to secure its safety. Organizers say if circumstances change, they will be in contact with runners. Tonight, we caught up with the run club leader at Foot Traffic who will be running in the 10K. He says running with others has helped him feel safe.
We have so many great run clubs every time of the day, every day itself. Having that community, that supportive community surrounding you and knowing that they're inspiring you, they're keeping you safe, they're looking out for one another. Portland in general is looking out for each other.
More than 75 police officers are set to roam the entire course. Stay with KGW for continuing coverage as this all plays out. We'll keep you posted on any National Guard activity on the ground, as well as that emergency court hearing that is set for Friday morning. We'll have those updates here on KGW.com and on our free TV app. That is KGW+. All right, let's take you outside on this Wednesday night. And while October came in with a bit of a roar, wind and rain, we're looking at you. It sounds like we're getting closer to drying out. Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino is here with a first look at your weather impact forecast. Hey there, Matt.
Thanks, David. Yeah, we had quite a bit of dry time around the state today, including at the Dalles. But look at the gray sky. Clouds moving from south to north there out along the gorge. See the breaks in the clouds, which we also had in the afternoon here in town. But now we've got a few rain showers, 59 degrees up in Vancouver. Showers, though, are really winding down. The ones that we had about an hour ago shifting up into the Cascades and out into the gorge, a little bit up to the north of us right now, and a few more at the Oregon coast. But we'll see them pick up during the day tomorrow. So we have one more day of showers, a dry weekend, including for the Portland Marathon on Sunday. It's going to be really great weather for the runners. Don't have to worry about rain and be nice and cool in the morning. And eventually next week, we're back in the 70s. This will be a pretty good warm up for early October. David?
Sounds like a list of good news there. Thanks, Matt. In an update, pay to park past 7? Well, let's reconsider. That's essentially the move Portland's mayor just made when it comes to extended paid parking hours in some neighborhoods, including downtown and the Pearl. Catherine Cook's in the newsroom. Catherine, the change, which was pretty much brand new, got a ton of pushback.
There was definitely pushback, David, and some would argue an outcry from business owners, customers, and people looking out for the city's economic recovery. They argued a move like the parking change-up would snuff out a lot of progress.
I'm so pleased and relieved, honestly.
It was a good day for Diana Alberg and other downtown business owners. They spent months pushing back on the city's decision to charge for street parking until 10 p.m. instead of 7. On Wednesday,
I feel like we've been heard.
The mayor responded. Beginning October 15th, paid parking hours will once again end at 7 p.m. Alberg, who owns All Burn Wax, is grateful.
With all the tensions going on with Portland and with outside factors, we didn't need one more thing to make it more difficult for people to come into downtown Portland.
I'm really glad about the time going back to 7.
Kanan Brown lives and shops downtown and says paying for more parking on top of last summer's rate hike hurt.
A lot of us are night owls, so we like to go and see the shops that are still open at nighttime and have the fun that we like to have fun, but not having to worry about, man, I got to save this money for parking.
In the Northwest District, Wednesday was supposed to mark day 1 of paid street parking until 10. But the mayor postponed that, citing the same reasons for stopping it downtown, helping businesses recover after COVID.
I'm glad they canceled it.
Kyle Parker is hitting Northwest 23rd for happy hour, a tradition he feels late night paid parking would have jeopardized.
It makes it hard and makes you not want to come down here as much as you would want to because of the parking and how difficult it is and then having to pay too.
The city's rate hike and extended paid hours were part of an effort aimed at closing PBOT's funding gap. The city also shared the notion that extending paid hours would create more parking availability. For business owners like Alberg, not enough parking was never the problem.
I just want to say thank you to our local government for listening to us.
So what's next? The city says it'll gather parking data and work with stakeholders to consider how hourly parking changes can support livability goals while also meeting budgetary needs. David.
Now I'll be curious to see what they come up with. Thanks, Catherine.